1998 NBA playoffs. Today, it's the New York Knicks versus the Miami Heat.
An impossible ticket. Miami inside, the heat is on as you see the starting lineups for the Knicks. No changes from game one. Larry Johnson, Chris Mills are the forwards. Charles Oakley again at center. Ward and Houston the guards. Dan Marley again will start at forward with P.J. Brown. Alonzo Mourning in the middle. Tim Hardaway and Vashawn Leonard at the guards for Miami. 16 years Pat Riley a head coach. 16 years in the playoffs. And his team was ready to play in game one. Jeff Van Gundy not happy with his team's performance in game one. Van Gundy, of course, an assistant under Riley for 4 years back in New York. Knicks, 7 straight road losses, ended the regular season with 6 in a row. And the opening round game here, they have not been a good road team all season long. Some close calls here in Miami, but they've not been able to come up with a win.
Well, Pat Riley is worried about the predictable letdown after a relatively easy 15-point win in game one. And Pat Riley also realizes how tough it's going to be going back to Madison Square Garden.
Officials on hand. Joe Crawford, Louis Grillo, and Bernie Fryer. Crawford, many believe, the best of the NBA. Not a surprise that he's working today's game.
He drew the short straw as far as people expecting all the extracurricular that people were predicting going into this series.
Hardaway misses his first shot in late game one, where he set the tone immediately by nailing a 3 to start it.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what the Knicks try to do to try to free up Allen Houston. Off the bat, we see him on the opposite side of the floor.
Mills against Leonard does not get the roll. P.J. Brown tips it away. That's one mismatch the Knicks feel they have with Marley guarding Houston. Mills has had Leonard on him, and a foul called on Charlie Ward. First foul on Ward. With the difficult task regarding Tim Hardaway, he'll have help. Chris Childs and Starks off the bench.
There, the fall down by Charlie Ward. I guess that line jumped up and grabbed his foot.
Mourning with a little tap on the back of the head after the play. Leonard makes his move. Knicks can help Oakley the block for the foul. And Vashawn Leonard will go to the free throw line. Leonard with 10 points in game one. Shot just 3 of 8 from the field. He has struggled at times against the Knicks. Houston picks up the foul. That's his first.
Well, when Vashawn Leonard first came on the scene under Pat Riley, strictly a perimeter shooter. He is a very good three-point shooter at 40%, but what Pat Riley and his coaching staff have worked with Vashawn on is driving the ball more to the basket and get to the foul line and take so much pressure off that outside shot.
You see Leonard during the regular season, 12.5 per game, but under 8 per game against the Knicks, including shooting under 30%. Leonard did not play down the stretch in game one because Eric Murdoch was so effective off the bench. First 2 points of the game from the line. Again, many expect the Knicks to come out much more physical here in game two. The players and the coaches saying that will be the case. Johnson against Brown. Larry Johnson with a first field goal.
A nice little wrinkle there with Allen Houston setting the back pick for Larry Johnson, making it a little bit difficult for the defense to react, see who they want to stay with. Because Larry Johnson got off to a good start in game one.
Tied at 2, 90 seconds into it. Mourning against Oakley forces him out. Houston trying to help out on the boards. Ward picks up the errant ball.
And the no double team, that is key for New York. They can't get their defense broken down.
Beautiful block by Mourning. Knicks set up a nice give and go, but Mourning right there with the help defense. Knicks and Heat even at 2. They lob it down low. Ward helping out, knocks it away.
The front of the post, key for New York's defense. Miami likes to do the same thing at their end.
Houston with the left hand, getting by Leonard. That time Vashawn Leonard on him. And that's the first lead for the Knicks in the series. Mourning quickly ties it up. The Heat led from wire to wire in game one, leading by as many as 24. And the brief 4-2 lead, the first taste of a lead for the Knicks.
That's a key part of the Miami attack. Quickly react after a score with Alonzo Mourning sprinting right down the middle of the floor. And so far, Charles Oakley is protecting himself. He's had a couple of opportunities to foul Alonzo Mourning hard and hasn't done it.
Johnson against Brown. Larry Johnson effective in game one. The fall away. Johnson had 21 points on 8 of 14 shooting. Really the Knicks' lone post threat without Patrick Ewing. Hardaway Hardaway, P.J. Brown misfires. Knicks lead it 6-4, nearly 3 minutes gone by. Houston trying to get untracked, and a foul on Leonard.
Well, Alonzo Mourning without really low post defensive responsibilities, because Charles Oakley normally likes to play out on the perimeter, kind of laying back in the lane there, just waiting for Charlie Ward's weak attempt at the layup.
Mourning, one of the best shot blockers in the league. Oakley fires away. Charles Oakley, he only had 1 field goal in 40 minutes in game 1, and gives the Knicks an 8-4 lead here. P.J. Brown, Heat missing early. They're 1 of 5 from the field to start. Knicks meanwhile have hit 4 of their first 6. Allen Houston set up nicely. Hardaway on the board.
Well, the Knicks are kind of going to try to push the ball as much as possible, get some good looks early in transition so they don't have to set up against the very tough half-court defense of the Heat.
Oakley goes up to help, and Mourning blows right by him. Alonzo Mourning off to a good start. He's got 4 points. Knicks with a 2-point advantage.
Well, Mike, I really expected the Knicks to be much more physical with Alonzo Mourning when he is attempting shots or layups close to the basket. He is a very shaky free throw shooter, yet the Knicks have been very soft defensively on him in the early going.
3-on-2 break. Leonard sets up for 3. Vashawn Leonard from downtown. The Heat back up by 1. The 3-point disparity, as we spoke of earlier, Matt, enormous. The Heat outscoring the Knicks from 3-point range 33-3 in game 1.
Well, it's such a big part of the Heat's attack. Ironically enough, the Knicks are one of the best teams in the league, actually second in defending 3-point shots, but it's tough to find people in transition. They're Oakley going for that little pump fake, and Alonzo Mourning really improving his ability to put the ball on the floor. And Vashawn Leonard doing a nice job trailing in transition, because good transition defense dictates that you get back into the lane and then fan out. But it opens up a lot of good looks at the 3.
That last foul on Marley, his first. Hard to believe Marley is playing with a hernia the way he played defensively the other night. Allen Houston, nice move. Marley looks like he's really limping right now. He is really struggling. You see him at your picture now.
And it happened a couple of times in game 1, and somehow or other, he's able to dig down deep and fight through this. But Pat Riley's going to get him out of there right now.
He's in a lot of pain. And here's where it happened. Houston making the move.
Quick first step. So hard defensively to bend your knees and make that quick movement. Offensively, of course, you know where you're going. You're not going to make any unusual steps. But defensively, when you have to react to a quick offensive move by your opponent, that's when you get yourself in trouble. And Marley did.
He's going back to the locker room. Leonard hits his second straight jumper. So Marley goes back. 7-0 run now by the Heat. They lead at 11-8. You asked Tim Hardaway, who's the unsung hero in this team. Marley's the first name he mentions. Mills underneath, not expecting a double team, has to kick it out. Charles Oakley. And Oakley finding his jumper in the early going.
And Oakley will get plenty of those opportunities, because until he makes a bunch, Alonzo Mourning is going to camp out in the lane.
3-pointer off the mark. Knicks come the other way. Knicks have struggled to shoot even 40% against the Heat during the regular season and in the first round, as Houston draws another foul. And that's a key for him, Matt. Houston needs to drive, try and get himself going. Timeout called. Knicks down by 1, 6.5 remaining. Jeff Van Gundy's team spoke about emotional control before the series, but after game 1, do not bring up the topic of composure to the Knicks head coach.
A bit of poise to our detriment.
Well, even though the Knicks were holed up in Charleston, South Carolina for their pre-playoff camp, there was no way they could avoid hearing about what happened to them last year. Of course, they've had to listen to it all season long, how that lack of poise in Game 5 cost the Knicks an opportunity to possibly beat Miami and go on and play the Bulls in the Eastern Conference Final. And the play I'm referring to was the Charlie Ward, P.J. Brown, which got a lot of Knicks just meandering out on the floor, and then suspensions for a couple of games.
Now infamous play. Houston hits both free throws. Mourning gets it deep but kicks it out. Keith Askins hits a 3. Askins from downtown. And the Heat again firing from 3-point range. They did 2 of their first 3.
Chris Mills not showing any respect at all for the poor shooting Askins, although every once in a while he'll knock down that perimeter 3. Doesn't do much else offensively.
Johnson against Brown. Shot clock at 8. Johnson making his move. Quick spin from Larry Johnson. Oakley mistimed his jump, and Askins picking it up. Both teams would like to push it more. Nice feed to Mourning, and Mourning foul just falls off. As the Knicks transition defense poor that time, Larry Johnson will pick up his first.
You're right, Mike. It was poor, and given the fact that Charles Oakley really didn't go to the offensive board, he is really trailing this play big time. Larry Johnson able to get back and commit the foul hard enough to send the 65% shooter to the foul line.
Mourning fouled by his former Hornet teammate. Those two not exactly dinner pals since they left each other in Charlotte. As Mourning misfires on the first, and there you see how dangerous they can be from three-point range. Hardaway and Leonard, over 150 three-point field goals made. Yes, Mourning about that protective mask from the broken cheekbone. He says it's a nuisance. Actually thinks he's going to auction it off at his annual summer charity event, which is not a bad idea.
He's dying to shed it. The doctors had told him at least 2 or 3 more weeks.
Heat back up by 3 as Mourning goes 1 for 2. Askins now on Houston with Marley out of the game after the injury. We'll get an update on that shortly. Mills trying to get something going, then throws it away. Johnson walked away.
This is a new wrinkle the Knicks put in for this game, trying to get Allen Houston in a little misdirection, hailing the ball up top, and you can see the Knicks unsure with their execution.
Hardaway, his first field goal, and the Heat with their largest lead in the early going, a 5-point advantage, a 13-4 run for Miami.
The Knicks ought to be giving a chance to Allen Houston to work on Keith Askins. The officials will watch him very closely. He's sometimes an over-aggressive defender, and they'll call him for a lot of fouls if you give him the opportunity.
Picked up quick fouls in game 1. Johnson feed, good ball movement from the Knicks. Ward an open 3. Johnson left hand tip, won't go, and Askins comes away. Point blank range for Larry Johnson. Hardaway. The shake and bake from Tim Hardaway gets the crowd going. Leonard with a nice spin move, blocked from behind, but a foul. And Charlie Ward will pick up his second. Right now, let's get an update on Dan Marley from our sideline reporter, Paul Sunderland.
Well, Mike had a chance to visit just a moment ago with the Miami Heat medical staff, and Dan Marley, who's been bothered by a back for a couple of years, a hernia which has been getting most of the medical attention, has also been playing with a strained groin. He has re-injured the left groin. He will not return to today's game. So a blow certainly to the defensive structure of the Miami Heat. Back to you.
Thank you, Paul. You can tell by the way he was going up the floor that he really aggravated that injury. And that's a huge loss for the Heat.
And in talking with Pat Riley yesterday, I asked him, I said, how long do you think Dan Marley can hold up? It's not like a hernia is going to get better with more activity. Even though they don't have Dan Marley practicing, hasn't done it all year, he just rides the bike. But you can't play NBA basketball at this very high level with a hernia. I don't know how he did it in game 1.
Chris Childs and John Starks check in. Mills and Ward sit down again. Charlie Ward picking up his second foul. Starks played well in game 1. Of course, slumped the tail end of the regular season. Last couple of months more than the tail end. Oakley another jumper. Mourning clearing space. Heat on an 8-0 run. They lead by 7. Mourning gets away from Oakley, and Alonzo Mourning now with 7 points. A 10-0 run for the Miami Heat.
I thought in game 1, Mike, the Knicks had all kinds of problems with their pick-and-roll defense. They cleaned it up later in the game, but it was way too late.
Timeout call by Jeff Van Gundy. Just over 4 minutes remaining. 10 straight points by the Heat here in the first. They lead by 9. Heat leading by 9. John Starks, 32 years old, in the worst shooting slump of his career. Last 4 months, the numbers continue to go down, really struggling right down to April. Starks trying to find his games. One of the reasons Starks has had his problems were off the court. He's got a grandmother who has cancer back in Oklahoma, grandmother who raised him, somebody who's very important to Starks. She's been seriously ill. Starks in daily contact as he fires the 3, knocks it down. He tried not to use it as an excuse, said it has nothing to do with his play, but he's a very emotional person, Matt, and it certainly has had an effect on him.
And John, like all outside shooter, has to really work hard to keep that stroke refined, and it takes a lot of work in the practice gym before games. Sometimes maybe 200-300 jumpers a day to feel good about it. Sometimes John slackens off a little bit when he gets tired. I think that was part of his problem late in the season.
2 on the shot clock. Leonard for 3. LaShawn Leonard in and out. Oakley grabs the board. Leonard's the game's leading scorer. He's got 9 already. Chris Childs making his move. Somebody left him wide open. Childs, another player who needs to look for his offense for the Knicks.
Well, there's that early transition look for the Knicks with Charles Oakley on a drag out high, setting that little bump to open up the lane for Chris Childs. The Knicks want to keep attacking early, so once again, they don't have to go and work half-court offense against Miami.
Mourning call for the loose ball foul. His quick move did not result in the basket. Mourning picks up his first.
Well, all 4 of his fouls in game 1 were very ticky-tack. And this one here, really no chance to get the offensive rebound, just an unnecessary shove. And Pat Riley trying to send a message to Alonzo after game 1 and yesterday in practice. You really have to concentrate, keep yourself out of foul trouble in this first half.
Mourning said the officials actually told him some of the fouls were a bit on the cheap side. His relationship with the officials is much, much better. He's really done a good job improving that. 4 on the shot clock and a 3-second violation called against Larry Johnson. Turnovers in the first game on Friday night. Knicks had 15. The Heat with only 8. Jeff Van Gundy was hoping to get more turnovers because, let's face it, the Knicks not an offensive juggernaut. They need some easy buckets.
Tim Hardaway has been very quiet in this first quarter. Just 1 for 2 from the field. Does have 4 assists. Looking to get his teammates more involved.
Leonard, the 3. LaShawn Leonard from downtown. 12 points for Leonard. His second 3-pointer of the Heat, back up by 7.
And the incredulous look on the face of Jeff Van Gundy. He cannot understand why LaShawn Leonard has been getting open time and time again.
Allen Houston misfires on the 3. Hardaway from downtown. Johnson whacks it off. Houston pushing off Leonard to get that one.
Half the crowd had that call.
Poor pass from Houston, trying to go behind the back. Mourning picking it off. 4th Knick turnover. Hardaway lost it. Oakley helping out on defense. Houston makes his move, draws the foul. Askins picks up his second. And Allen Houston will go to the free throw. And he averaged during the regular season series against the Heat 9 free throws a game. That's kind of a number Jeff Van Gundy hopes he gets today.
Well, this is really the best bet for Allen Houston in transition in the open floor, especially against Keith Askins. Really, Houston doesn't need a pick. He's better off going one-on-one against Askins, who often will overreact defensively and lean forward. And how about this? Dan Marley back on the floor. Hernia and all.
I want to confront the person who lied to Paul Sunderland. How can you lie to Paul Sunderland? So, we were told that Marley would not return, but Thunder Dan showing his toughness. As you see Terry Cummings making his first appearance. Cummings did not play at all in game 1. Oakley will get a break. Marley is, in terms of toughness, something special. As Chris Childs arguing the call. Joey Crawford keeping it tight on Childs' defense on Hardaway. First on Childs.
Well, the Knicks feel that Childs is their best pressure point guard. Charlie Ward does not do that good a job of it. Charlie, a better team defensive player. And Childs trying to keep that pressure on Hardaway, make him work as much as possible. Also with Charlie Ward, when John Starks plays Hardaway, they want to wear him down. And that's why Pat Riley will go to Eric Murdoch quite often with Hardaway to take some of that ball handling pressure off. He calls the Knicks guards pit bulls.
And Hardaway hits the first. Let's send it over now to Paul Sunderland.
Well, I think everyone has noticed that Dan Marley is back in this basketball game. He was in the locker room. The doctors had come in to see him, and as I reported a few moments ago, would not return. Well, so much for that. He came out of the locker room. His wife and children were waiting outside to see what was going on. He brushed right past them and said, hey, look, go tell Pat Riley I'm going to give it a go. So he's going to get back out there on Allen Houston. So much for Dan Marley. He is a man. Back to you.
And he's right up on Houston again. Childs left open, and an offensive foul. Knicks sending screens down low a little too hard. John Starks picking up his first. Starks, like old times, raising his hand when called for the foul.
Well, John's happy. His first jump shot went down, which means there's more to come.
Heat leading by 6. Hardaway tripped up. Childs fell down. That's just a matter of wrong place, wrong time. And Childs picks up his second. So Childs and Ward, the Knick point 2.
You know, as a coach, you tell your defensive point guards, keep Tim Hardaway from getting in the lane. Don't let him penetrate. Ha! A lot easier said than done.
That's a smart play from Hardaway, seeing Childs on the floor, and he knows he's going to get a foul or an easy 2, taking advantage of Childs' poor positioning. And there Hardaway, game 7, had that 38-point game in the clincher, had the big game in game 2, and then of course terrific on Friday night as well. 24 of those 34 in the first half.
Sarcastically said yesterday, hey, we're doing a much better job. He's going from 38 to 34. Maybe we can get him down to 30. Maybe in about 10 or 12 games, we'll get him under 20.
He's got 5 points so far here in the first quarter. A minute remaining, opening period. Mashburn just in the game, guarding Larry Johnson. Johnson the spin move, and one. Larry Johnson with a chance for a 3-point play. Johnson with a primal scream as he walks to the free throw line. Mashburn his first foul.
A smart play by the Knicks to go right away inside against Jamal Mashburn. Not a particularly good defensive player. No way he can do any business down inside against Larry Johnson. And one of the reasons why Pat Riley keeping Mashburn out of the starting lineup, despite all the games he missed, he did start the last regular season game. And he said Jamal Mashburn's disposition defensively is not right.
So hard to come back after being out of action, be thrust into it. Mashburn, a very versatile player. See, Eric Murdoch is in now for Hardaway. Murdoch sensational in game 1. Leonard on the drive. 4 on the shot clock. Houston called for the foul. Hit him on the head. Got a ball and the foul, and a technical foul call on Allen Houston. And his teammates quickly usher him away. Allen Houston, who did not have a technical foul call in the entire regular season, gets one right here.
A little frustration, too. Allen Houston just 1 for 4 from the field. Probably feels he's getting bumped and banged and bruised at the other end of the floor, but little loss of composure and poise there. He had Dan Marley in bad sorts right there. Had him leaning in to force up a shot and then to try to block it from behind.
Second personal on Houston. Marley missing the first. Of course, 2 technicals, automatic ejection, and players who pick up the first, you have to be careful because you get involved in a little fracas and it's one of those double technicals. You're out of there.
Now, Mike, this is the first time in Allen Houston's career that he's asked to not only be the go-to guy, but also get other players involved. In Detroit, he played off Grant Hill, and of course, last year, playing off Patrick Ewing. Big difference.
Murdoch doing a good job on Childs. Johnson against Mashburn once again. Johnson flips it up with the right hand. Terry Cummings, Murdoch goes down hard. Cummings and Murdoch got entangled. Shot clock is turned off. Final seconds here of the first quarter. Mashburn, beautiful feed down low, and Mourning laying it in. A 10-point lead for the Heat. Childs not aware, and does not even get a shot off in the final second. Well, the Miami Heat come out strong once again. Allen Houston, a little better in the first half than game 1, but Bashan Leonard, 13 points, as the Heat again hot from downtown. They lead by 10. Game 2 of the best-of-5 series. Heat taking game 1. Knicks hoping to rebound. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1998 NBA playoffs.
1 quarter complete. Knicks trailing the Heat by 10. Here Dan Marley with the shot clock winding down. The foul on Allen Houston, and then going over to Bernie Fryer and barking at Bernie Fryer, and Allen Houston uncharacteristically picking up a technical foul.
Well, a big part of the defense for both of these teams is to challenge shots, which is always what you want to do. On the other hand, you don't want to be fouling jump shooters. And I think Allen Houston, I'd say, frustrated at the other end of the floor, and then showing his frustration after that call, knowing it was a silly foul.
Here you see some of the numbers from the first quarter. Heat shooting 53% from the field. Childs kicks it out. Ward back in the game. Childs for 3. Mashburn on the boards. The Knicks shooting 42% for the game.
Very very small team on the floor for New York right now, with John Starks in effect, really the third guard or small forward. Terry Cummings getting his first action in the series.
Leonard with a 13 first quarter points. Shot clock winding down. Looking to post up Childs. LaShawn Leonard off the mark. Cummings helping out. Starks tied up, finding Cummings underneath. Cummings rushed the shot. Terry Cummings trying to bank. And a loose ball foul called on Larry Johnson. That's going to be his second. Eric Murdoch helping out on the boards.
Well, Terry Cummings realizes he's in this game to give the Knicks some scoring punch, putting up 2 weak efforts so far as we look at the leading scorers so far. LaShawn Leonard off to a terrific start. And I'm a little surprised every time Miami does not come down in a half-court setting and dump the ball right into Alonzo Mourning.
Ward poking it away from Murdoch. Murdoch, in addition to the 16 points, he had 6 rebounds, 5 assists in game 1. Pat Riley called him the key to the victory on Friday night. Mourning has it knocked away. Cummings, good physical defense. Knicks have the numbers. Childs pushing it up and draws the foul on Murdoch.
Now that was a good example of Charlie Ward's ability as a team defender. In game 1, he went down early off Tim Hardaway on Alonzo Mourning. Gave him the opening shot of the game, a three-pointer. Not a wise play there, but Eric Murdoch, who had a brilliant game in game 1, but not known for his outside shooting or his three-point shot. So Charlie Ward timed it perfectly to disrupt Mourning inside.
First team foul on the Heat. Chris Mills back in the game. Childs went out and getting treatment from Mike Saunders, the Knicks trainer. Johnson the fall away. Tough shot won't go. Mills trying to keep it alive, but throws it right to Murdoch. Knicks not getting a lot of second shot opportunities. Beautiful feed to Mourning. No look pass from Eric Murdoch. And the Heat go up by 12.
Pat Riley said he was the key to the game. Jeff Van Gundy admitted it as well. And it's Eric Murdoch's ability to penetrate, get in the lane, and make things happen.
Ward tied up. Charlie Ward kicking out. Starks pulls up for 2. Cummings rips down the rebound, finding Johnson. Johnson hard. Shot will go, and a foul. And Larry Johnson with a chance for a three-point play. But the Heat shooting well once again from the field, getting beautiful passes from Eric Murdoch. 53% from the floor. They lead by 10. 40 miles outside of New York City. He grew up a Knicks fan, was a huge Bernard King fan. Then in his first year at Providence College, one of the assistant coaches, Jeff Van Gundy.
And we asked him yesterday what he remembered about that, and he said, yeah, he was a freshman. Marty Conlon was also on that team. Gordon Chiesa was the head coach. And Jeff Van Gundy said, all I remember is we all got fired at the end of the year.
That's what the coach would think as Johnson misses the free throw.
As Murdoch went on to lead the nation in steals while at Providence.
Was a terrific defender. Bounced around the NBA with Milwaukee, Utah, Vancouver, Denver, little time in Italy as well. Maybe the best game of his career on Friday night. Hardaway looking to post up on Starks. Shot clock down to 2. Starks doing an excellent job. Hardaway off the mark. Cummings the rebound. Superb defense that time from Starks. Mills trying to get his offense in gear. Johnson keeps it alive, but Murdoch right there. Mourning's got Cummings on him. Mourning deep in the post. Cummings with the steal. And a foul on Murdoch as Starks tried to run up the floor and get into the lane. And Eric Murdoch now has 3 personals.
Well, Terry Cummings, who has a strong body, able to battle some centers. And the game plan for the Knicks and the Heat is try to keep the ball out of the post, especially when the offensive player is in the lane. So Cummings did a good job of getting around, fronting, and getting the steal. And I think Jeff Van Gundy might as well use guys like Terry Cummings, Buck Williams, Chris Dudley. If Charles Oakley is not going to be that effective as the center, of course, Charles Oakley's more natural position is at the big forward position. And then, of course, he doesn't care about fouls with those other 3 players. He'll have 18 to use with Dudley, Cummings.
Of course, all these rotating centers because of Patrick Ewing and the broken wrist. Ewing on the bench in street clothes once again. He is on the playoff roster, although very unlikely he would play in this series. Johnson on the fall away. Mashburn.
And you see how disciplined the Miami defense is in there with a guy dribbling in the lane. Everybody Everybody staying home with their man, letting the defender go one-on-one, not breaking their defense down.
Mashburn misfires. Mills. Knicks look to break once again. Good transition defense from the Heat. Johnson left alone. Mashburn fell down, and Larry Johnson able to put it in. Johnson in double figures with 10.
There's just no way Jamal Mashburn can battle Larry Johnson's wide body inside. Larry long ago lost his explosiveness and power to the basket, but still uses that big body very well.
Mashburn misses from outside. Chris Childs has gone back to the Knicks locker room. We'll get a report coming up from Paul Sunderland. Cummings trying to get position. Cummings shooting over Mashburn. And Leonard getting it. And let's throw to Paul Sunderland. Paul?
Oh, Mike, I was just back in the hallway outside the Knicks locker room, and Chris Childs has strained his rib cage on his right side. Very, very painful. Getting packed in ice right now. He's not expected to return for the rest of this half, but the Knicks are hopeful that he will play in the second half. But maybe with a wink and a nod towards Dan Marley, he'll be back out here sooner than we expect. Back to you.
You think Paul's walking on eggshells?
Cummings gets the feed. Nice pass from Charlie Ward. And Terry Cummings, the 16-year veteran, now 37 years old. He's on this team because of the injuries to the center position, and Pat Riley is going to call timeout. Nearly 5 minutes gone by, second quarter. Knicks shooting only 38%. Heat with an 8-point advantage here in game 2. That's your game's leading scorer, Vashawn Leonard, who has 15 here in the first half.
Well, Vashawn Leonard has been doing a good job spotting up as the New York defense collapsed many times. That got Leonard off very well. Some of the problems that the Knicks had in game 1, and then using that down screen, curling to the middle with that defender trailing, as Vashawn Leonard off to a terrific start.
Leonard did not have an easy road to the NBA. Tried for the NBA draft after his junior year at Minnesota. Was taken in the second round. Went back to school. Hardaway hits a three. Tim Hardaway, his first shot from downtown, and the lead back to 11. Well, then Leonard didn't get drafted after his senior year. Had to go the CBA route, signed as a free agent with Miami. And all he heard this year were Mitch Richmond rumors. But he's still here and performing well. Charlie Ward. Oakley, the offensive rebound, tipped out of bounds by Marley.
I think just about everybody around the NBA felt that Pat Riley was going to find a way to acquire Mitch Richmond. Talented big guard. Here he is from nearby Fort Lauderdale, taking in a couple of these games. He wanted to be here. Of course, Pat Riley wanted him also for his defensive prowess, figuring he'd be a good match against guys like Reggie Miller, Michael Jordan, whereas Pat Riley doesn't think Vashawn Leonard is a tough enough defensive player.
Deflections by both teams. Cummings is on Leonard right now. Leonard wants to take him off the dribble. Houston goes to help. Leonard fires a three and puts it in. Vashawn Leonard from way downtown. And the lead is up to 14, largest of the first half for the Miami Heat. Timeout Knicks.
Well, here Vashawn Leonard, one-on-one situation against the bigger Terry Cummings, who tried to stay low, anticipating Leonard to put the ball on the floor. But Leonard feeling it here in game 2, raising up and putting it right in the eye of Terry Cummings.
3 for 5 from three-point range, 18 points for Vashawn Leonard. I want to remind you to go online to msnbcsports.com for complete NBA playoff coverage. Plus email Bill Walton your questions on any of the first-round matchups and vote for the team you feel will win the NBA title. It's all on msnbcsports.com. We are not responsible for anything that Bill Walton tells you.
Well, the beat goes on for the Miami Heat and their ability to knock down the three. Look at game 1. Now we see the big difference, 33-3 in points. And once again, on the strength of Vashawn Leonard's ability, he is a 40%er on the year. And I pointed out earlier, New York, second to Indiana in the league in defending the three-point shot, holds their opponent about 31%. And the reason is they don't normally double team inside. They're the best defensive rebounding team, so teams don't get offensive rebounds and kick out, but they can't keep Miami from knocking down these threes.
Charlie Ward takes it hard to the goal, and Ward bringing the Knicks within 12. Again, Knicks shooting under 40% at 39. The Heat up to 52%. That's un-Knick-like. These two teams tied tied for second in that department in field goal percentage by their opponent. And Ward called for the foul. That's his third. Just the second team foul. Of course, Childs and Ward doing their best to contain Hardaway, who's so tough. Childs still back in the Knick locker room.
And we talked about Charlie Ward's problems as an individual defender. And now they have him off on Sean Leonard, primarily a spot-up shooter, but has put the ball on the floor some. Starks against Hardaway.
Mourning coming over. Nice feed from Hardaway. Leonard with another three. In and out as Cummings grabs the board. Starks trying to get himself on track. Starks blocked by Mourning. His second rejection. Starks slow getting up the other way. Marley wide open three. And Charlie Ward the long rebound.
And you could see the strain on the part of Dan Marley just to get that three-pointer up with that hernia.
Knicks down by 12. The Heat very impressive once again here in the first half. Just under 5 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Starks nails it. That's a 2 for John Starks. Starks, one of the top villains in visiting arenas. We've got 2 of them. Mourning, certainly one when he visits around the NBA. They get booed on the road as often as anybody, those 2. Mourning, left-handed, draws the foul. And Charles Oakley will pick up his second. Alonzo Mourning, not much of an impact in game 1. Certainly here in game 2, a different.
John Starks showing his ability to take the ball to the basket, but tunnel vision here, really not having his head up, seeing where the defense is. If he's getting that shot blocked by Alonzo Mourning, that means that somebody else is open, and it was Charles Oakley in that short left corner.
John Starks picking up the second technical. Allen Houston had picked one up earlier. That's been a problem at times for the Knicks as Leonard hits the technical. Now Mourning will shoot the free throws. You're down by now 11, and in a series where every point will matter, a technical free throw could make the difference between winning and losing. They want to be aggressive, but they still have to keep their composure.
Well, the Knicks had a players-only meeting before practice yesterday to discuss a lot of things that went wrong in game 1. Obviously, the big thing was the so-called composure, poise aspect. And the Knicks realize they can't be anything different what they are. And Jeff Van Gundy says that's combative, contentious, fierce, hard fouls. And it is that fine line that they sometimes cross. But Jeff Van Gundy says that's why that sometimes we can only get to a certain level, but that is us. And really now almost a game and a half in, Mike, I don't really see that much of a change. We see some carping at referees, but that's a lot different than being physical, being tough, and being aggressive, all the while certainly not being dirty.
Mourning has 13 points. He only had 9 in game 1. He's already played 18 minutes. Remember, he only played 22. Houston gets Marley out of the way. Marley wondering why a whistle wasn't there as he hobbles up the floor. He really still is hurting. Houston has to see that and try and take advantage.
And Allen Houston spent a long time on the bench after his technical foul.
Houston now with 8 points. Heat lead by 11. Sean Leonard with Charlie Ward on him. Height advantage there for Miami, and Leonard uses it well. 21 points here in the first half for Sean Leonard.
You can just see the confidence in his body language right now. As we said, a spot-up shooter trying to improve on putting the ball on the floor. He's doing it all offensively in this first half.
Houston wants to take Marley, settles for the 3, knocks it down. Allen Houston from downtown. The lead is 10 for Miami, just under 3.5 remaining in the second quarter.
And Pat Riley senses right now that Dan Marley unable to move, and Allen Houston starting to heat up as Keith Haskins waiting.
Hardaway, B.J. Brown from outside. Cummings has done a good job on the board since coming in. That's his 6th rebound. Deflected by Hardaway. Heat with active hands in the first half. Starks. Starks, quick 3. It's good. John Starks from downtown. That's one of those, as he's shooting it. No.
I sense that Jeff Van Gundy getting a little frustrated over there, sensing that Starks is trying to take over himself, going a lot of one-on-one. Now, it helps when the ball goes in the basket, but that's not how the Knicks can win basketball games. They have to play together, and they got to keep the ball moving.
Leonard over Ward. This time does not get the roll. Brown's tip misses. And a travel called on Charlie Ward. We'll have timeout. Allen Houston starting to come alive for the Knicks. He's hit 2 in a row. 11 points for Houston. But with 2:23 remaining here in the second, they're still down by 7. You're watching the NBA on NBC. I think Jason Williams, when he finishes his NBA career, you'll see him appearing twice nightly at the Comedy Loft on Friday and Saturday nights. There you see the leading scorers. Allen Houston with 11 again. He averaged 24 per game against the Heat in the regular season. The Knicks need a huge game from Allen Houston. Johnson, the deflection. And Knicks starting to pick it up defensively. Starks, that's a 3. John Starks from downtown. A 9-0 run by the Knicks. Starks with 11, and it's a 4-point Heat lead.
A big factor had to be for John Starks, who slumped mightily in the last month of the season, but getting off to a good start in game 1 with a few layups. And now those jumpers have come a little bit easier, but he's being extra aggressive in looking for his shot.
Everybody working overtime here. Hustle by both teams. Hardaway kicks it out. Keith Askins hits the bottom of the rim, and Starks coming away. Houston set up. Leonard runs out. Allen Houston from downtown. 4 straight threes by the Knicks. And it's a 1-point game. A 12-0 run. All from downtown. Leonard, pretty pass. And Brown and a foul. Cummings didn't foul him hard enough. There's a way to stop the layup. And P.J. Brown with a chance for the traditional 3-point play.
Well, a lot of the success that the Knicks had this year after Patrick Ewing went down, a big part of it was John Starks coming off the bench to give some punch, to give some life to this team with his scoring. John looking for his own shot, but found Allen Houston there as the Knicks getting into the 3-point party with the Miami. Houston drives hard, throws the foul, won't go.
But he'll go back to the line for 2 more as Keith Askins picks up his 3rd foul. Game 2 here in Miami. And of course, we've got a triple header coming up. Portland and the Lakers. Blazers played so well in game 1 but fell short. That's coming up next after this game. And then Michael Jordan and the Bulls also receiving a scare at home in game 1, despite Keith Van Horn not playing a lot. See Chris Childs back from the locker room with the rib injury earlier.
Yeah, I guess who ducked into that broom closet or phone booth or whatever, had the cape flying with the Bulls on the ropes. Michael coming up with a huge steal, and then the block by Scottie Pippen. It served, I'm sure, as a wake-up call for the Chicago Bulls. They'll be much more in tune today, ready for New Jersey.
Perhaps a bit ornery after the close call. Hardaway. Starks gets the rebound, lost it momentarily, but Childs picks it up. Feed down low, Larry Johnson. Johnson, it's good, and a foul. Larry Johnson again with a chance for a 3-point play. The Knicks are fired up. They've regained the lead after trailing by 14 earlier in the period.
Well, at this point, the question has been answered as to how Allen Houston will come back from the 5 for 18 game 1. He has looked for his shot, found it, knocking down some 3-pointers. But the other question about Allen Houston is, can he make his teammates better? Can he draw defense and find open people? Well, he did right there, but just his first assist of the game. It's really not in Allen Houston's makeup to be a Grant Hill type of player, to draw the defense and kick to open people. He has played off the ball so much of his career. It's going to be a tough transformation for him, but that's what goes with being the best player on the team right now, and that's what he is with Patrick Ewing on the bench in street clothes.
Remember, Houston overcame a wrist injury earlier. He was playing poorly the first couple of months of the season. Shouldn't say poorly, but struggling. But every month he's gotten better, and he's become an aggressive leader, calling for the ball at crunch time. Johnson hitting the free throw. Knicks with a 2-point advantage. Hardaway with the drive. Mourning the tip and the follow. Terrific second effort from Alonzo Mourning.
Well, what Terry Cummings is trying to do, and it's what he should be doing because he does not have a lot of lift in his legs, just trying to keep a body on Mourning, keep him off the glass, and then somebody else for the Knicks has to clean up on the boards.
Little over a second differential between the shot clock and game clock. Johnson working against Mashburn. 3 on the 24. Cummings. And a 24-second violation.
24-second violation.
They'll put a little more time up on the clock. 2.2 remaining for the Heat to go three-quarters court. Pat Riley's going to use his 22nd timeout right now and set up a final play. Riley's team leading by 14 earlier in the period, and the Knicks on a 17-4 run in just a little under 4 minutes. And this is more of the score that most anticipated coming in, because if you look at the season series, Matt, it does not get much closer than that.
But I don't think, Mike, too many people expected any kind of high scoring in a playoff setting. I think a lot of people expected this maybe to have a number of games in the 70s. So this is really an offensive onslaught for these two ball clubs, despite the fact that Miami was able to score 94 in game one on the strength of all that three-point shooting. But I'm sure both coaches are going to be a little upset with the defensive aspects of their game at halftime. And we'll try to make those adjustments.
See Marley again hobbling over Anthony Bowie, who checked in just a short time ago. Mourning trying to get free. Mourning fires it up. And there's the buzzer, ending the first half. Vashawn Leonard off to the great start. 21 points, including 3 of 6 from downtown. Allen Houston came on fire in the second quarter. Houston with 16. John Starks also a huge key for the Knicks. He at 11. And Alonzo Mourning a factor for Pat Riley. The Heat leading 1-0 in this best-of-5 series. Knicks trying to even it up. We're tied at 50 at halftime. Stay tuned for the Prudential Halftime Report. Right after these messages, the NBA on NBC.
Quarter. Ran better plays, set better picks, got him going, knocked down shot. Happy with that. He also thought Terry Cummings was a key against Alonzo Mourning in the post defense. As far as Pat Riley and his staff over with Miami, very disappointed. All they talk about is defense, of course, at Miami. Very disappointed in their transition defense. Thought that New York was getting way too many easy shots. Back to you guys at the table.
Thank you, Paul. Chris Mills forcing it up and gets it. With Vashawn Leonard draped over him. Mills his first 2 points.
Well, with Vashawn Leonard scoring 21 in the first half, Jeff Van Gundy tried to make him work at the defensive end, but the Knicks have only gone to that, what looks like a mismatch. Mills at about 6'7" against Leonard, a little bit over 6'3", but really Chris Mills unable to respond until that first field goal in the third quarter.
Charles Oakley picking up his 3rd foul on that play, so Mourning back to the free throw line, where he's 3 of 4. You ask Jeff Van Gundy about Mourning, he'll tell you that he's played much better this year than last year, under emotional control, less foul trouble than last year. Still has to improve on his free throw numbers. But he is, you can really see over the last several months of the season, Matt, on how he has his composure is much better, and his relationship with officials, as we mentioned earlier.
Well, Pat Riley challenged him a couple of months ago and said, you're only hurting yourself, getting in trouble with the officials. You're wasting a lot of energy and emotion on getting all upset with the other team and reacting to that. You're hurting yourself and you're hurting our team. Snap out of it.
Charlie Ward makes the drive. Ball deflected out of bounds, and it's going to be Heat basketball.
And give Alonzo Mourning credit, bouncing back from game one where he was in foul trouble throughout. Only played 8 minutes in that game one. 22 overall. Played 22 minutes in the first half of game 2.
And a big factor. 17 points, 7 boards, a couple of blocked shots as well. 8 on the shot clock. And a travel. Charles Oakley with the solid post defense, despite playing with the 3 fouls.
Part of the Knicks game plan with Alonzo when he catches it that tight to the lane, and it is way too tight. Got to take away middle. Even though Alonzo has improved his drop step and his move to the baseline, they'd rather make him go there because it creates too many problems for your defense when he does get to the middle.
Leonard on a hold. Mills trying to come across the screen. With Oakley playing the post defense, playing the center position, playing out of position for months, he's done an incredible job filling in not only Ewing out, but of course Chris Dudley and Buck Williams as well.
Mike, in past years, Oakley played the center quite a bit to body them, but don't forget Patrick Ewing was alongside to do other things, clog the lane, block shots, and protect. It's a little different right now when your next biggest guy is Larry Johnson at about 6'7", and who really doesn't play big defensively.
Houston makes the move and puts it in. As Marley unable to stay with him again. Marley re-injuring his groin. He's playing with that hernia, and he's hobbled. Houston going right by him after the initial contact. Mourning deep in the post and just dumps it in.
You just can't let Alonzo Mourning catch it in the lane now. That's one of, again, those things you say easier said than done. Charles Oakley just not mobile enough, quick enough to get around and front Alonzo Mourning. Little surprised Jeff Van Gundy not coming back with Cummings, who was shaky offensively, but did pull down 7 rebounds in that first half. And I thought did a decent job with Mourning.
Oakley misfiring. Tied at 54, 2 minutes gone by, third quarter. Hardaway, just 2 of 8 from the field in the first half. Flips it up there. Johnson the rebound. Hardaway did have 5 assists. Setting up Mourning quite well. Not looking for his offense as much. Allen Houston, 3-pointer, too long. P.J. Brown the rebound. Oakley knocks it away. The intangibles of Charles Oakley. Crowd a little quiet. That was not the case at all on Friday night in game 1 where the Heat so effective. Houston. Oakley tries to tip, gets the rebound, puts it up. Battle and Mourning comes away. Leonard looking to take advantage of Charlie Ward posting up. Oakley comes to help out on defense. Tough shot, and Leonard puts it in.
Well, Deshaun Leonard has shown the whole repertoire. We know he can shoot from the perimeter, taking the ball more to the basket. I think that's the first time I've seen him post up, having a fabulous offensive game.
23 for Leonard. His career playoff high is 24. This is only the second year he's been in the postseason. Last year was his debut in the playoffs. Charlie Ward hard at Mourning, hooks it in, and a foul. Charlie Ward goes right at Mourning. That is a chance for a 3-point play.
Well, Dan Marley, and we don't want to belabor the point, playing with a hernia. Trying to get up in on Allen Houston, take him off the jump shot, make him a driver, where in game 1, Allen Houston struggled in that area, driving too far, getting the shot blocked. And on this particular play, Allen Houston was the passer from up top. Charlie Ward playing off the ball, did a nice job challenging Alonzo Mourning. At the other end of the floor, I'm a little surprised that Miami is not taking the ball harder to the basket. There is just no shot blocking threat for the Knicks right now.
Ward completes the 3-point play. That foul on Mourning, Matt, his third. Certainly not the foul difficulty that he was in game 1. Mills isolated with Hardaway. Hardaway the leaner. Tim Hardaway, tough shot.
That's tough cover for Chris Mills. No way he can move the feet and keep Hardaway from penetrating with his ability to cross over, just get low to the ground and get there. And say the Knicks have no shot blocking today. They haven't had it all year since Patrick Ewing went down.
Patrick Ewing is still the leader in block shots for this team as Oakley puts it up, draws the foul. Despite the fact that he injured his wrist back on December 20th, he is the leading shot blocker this season for the Knicks.
And Patrick Ewing had quite a bit of comment on after game 1 as to showing his frustration about feeling if he had played, he would have been able to obviously do a much better job for the Knicks, and he desperately wants to play. But the New York organization and team doctors are saying nada for now.
The word today is that it's unlikely he will play in the first round. It's not definitely, but unlikely. He has worked so hard with the Knicks strength and conditioning coach, Greg Brittenham. He's in good shape stamina-wise, conditioning-wise, but he still hasn't had the full contact. Hey, his injury was career-threatening when it happened. They're amazed that they're even thinking about putting him back on the floor.
And to Patrick Ewing's credit, he is a rehab nut, loves to work out all year long, and took this as a challenge, but I think he wanted to prove the doctors wrong, that he would get back before this season is over.
Well, they're amazed at his progress as the Knicks lead by 1. They go down low, Mourning on the lob. Oakley playing in front. A nice pass from Hardaway.
That's just the offensive execution, just too good there. Nothing that the shorter Charles Oakley could do. Could be a little bit more pressure on the ball in the perimeter.
Oakley left open, now drives, lost it. Ward making his move. Larry Johnson nails the jumper. Johnson with 15 points. Knicks back up by 1. Several lead changes here in the early minutes of the third. Leonard plenty of time. Gets it down to Mourning, passing up the shot. Hardaway, the little hop step. Short on the three. Oakley, the rebound.
Tim Hardaway been very quiet offensively this game. Does have 10 points. 3 for 11 from the field. Usually picks a point in the third quarter, fourth quarter to really rev it up offensively and try and take the game over.
Larry Johnson called for travel. That's the 10th Knick turnover, same as the Miami Heat. This one very close here in the third. Just over 5 minutes gone by. Knicks with a 1-point advantage.
Miller Genuine Draft presents even more basketball.
Well, a couple of Charlotte Hornets having big contributions in the first half. Alonzo Mourning doing it at both ends. Strong around the basket, blocking shots. And Larry Johnson just shedding people, knocking them out of the way, using his big wide body inside. Alonzo Mourning had 15 of those 21 in the first half. Playing very big inside. Charles Oakley really struggling. And P.J. Brown, known as a good defender, very long, really has problems with Larry Johnson, who also had a good game one. But Larry Johnson, Alonzo Mourning have that genuine dislike for one another.
In recognition of this look inside the game, Miller Brewing Company will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. Mourning has it knocked away. Johnson called for the foul. 3 now on Larry Johnson. Johnson having some contact with the fans here. Joey Crawford pushes him away.
Well, the Miami Heat are doing a good job every time now that Charles Oakley is fronting. He's unable to really keep his body, and you see Alonzo Mourning took that shot in the throat area. The mask is big, not big enough. He's going to need one of those catcher's masks that has the little flippy-do on the bottom to protect the throat area, but a typical hard playoff foul. I mentioned how these two, Larry Johnson and Mourning, not liking each other. Goes back to the days in Charlotte. First, Larry Johnson was the first pick in the draft one year. Alonzo Mourning came the next year and was one of those, whose team is it, who's the man, on and off the floor. Petty, but it's been lasting.
Not a problem anymore as Allen Houston makes his move against Marley. The feed to Oakley, blocked by Mourning, his third. Shot clock down to 7. Houston again with a drive. The feed Larry Johnson. This time Johnson can't get the roll. Keeps it alive to Mills. Oakley steps back way off of P.J. Brown, able to get it. We've already had Oakley with the steal. We've already had 7 lead changes here in this third quarter. Johnson underneath. Oakley's tip won't go. Johnson with the right hand.
Well, we see the Knicks getting so many what look like easy scoring opportunities inside, but the lack of lift on the part of Charles Oakley and Larry Johnson until that last tip hit, really hurting them, unable to finish.
Again, they lob it over Oakley. Some nice entry passes for Mourning.
Yeah, fronting the post is not getting it done right now. It's what Jeff Van Gundy wanted in game one, never got it. Not enough pressure on the passer, so it really negates that fronting aspect.
Dan Marley pumps his fist in the air in disgust. He is really hurting trying to keep up with Houston, who nails the open jumper. Houston now with 20. Mourning has now 10 of his 25 in this third quarter, and we're just past the midway point. Hardaway backs up, won't go. P.J. Brown fights for the rebound. Mills gets a hand on it. Hardaway takes it away. Now Houston and Hardaway.
That's just a matter of wanting it more. Tim Hardaway with strong hands wrestling it away from Allen Houston.
Marley, can see, just does not have the explosiveness. Leonard Ward tipped that one. Johnson knocks it loose, and it goes out of bounds. Oh, Brown able to get it. Didn't even see him in the corner, and he's 6'11". Leonard on the drive. Deshaun Leonard, 25 points, a new playoff career high. Jeff Van Gundy not happy right now, and he calls timeout.
And John Starks throwing a towel. I think they're both upset with the players on the floor not getting after those loose balls.
Well, Don Shula and yes, Sylvester Stallone. Tell you what, his Rambo character would be very proud of Dan Marley, playing in a lot of pain and not complaining about it. In fact, P.J. Brown, that's what he calls Marley, Rambo. Marley now getting a breather. Houston misfires Morning, mishandles the rebound, but Hardaway right there.
That was really a necessary timeout by Jeff Van Gundy, and that's one of those situations where you really jump on your players, just going very softly after the loose balls. You got to get on the floor. You got to take some bodies out. This is almost a must-win situation, obviously, for the Knicks because it's not elimination.
Charlie Ward the steal. Ward underneath and a foul. Leonard just got a piece of his arm. And Deshaun Leonard picks up his third. Not a bad foul considering Ward with an easy 2 there, and he'll shoot 2 free throws.
Charlie Ward diving into the passing lane, doing a good job. Deshaun Leonard not giving up on anything. Able to commit the foul, prevent the basket, and get away with not committing a flagrant foul. Not always easy to do when these two teams get together.
That's Ward's third steal. Ward, who shot a career-high 80% from the free throw line this season, nails the first as Eric Murdoch will return.
But the point I was trying to make, Mike, is the fact that the Knicks are certainly within striking distance right into this ballgame after getting off to another shaky start in the first half. And to be able to steal the home court advantage in this short 5-game series would be a major breakthrough. Now we're seeing Eric Murdoch into the ballgame. Murdoch and Hardaway only played together 2 minutes in the first half. So effective together in game 1.
Out there together right now, it's Leonard who took the seat. Hardaway, the 3 won't go. Oakley boxing out on Morning, able to tip it to Ward. Starks back in the game. Nice feed down low, and Johnson is fouled before the shot. Hardaway called for his first, and the Knicks will take it out of bounds. Johnson still chatting with the fans. Larry Johnson, who has become the vocal leader. They're going to call it now in the act of shooting. That's why he screamed at the fans. Or check that. That's only, you look, yeah, that is the 15 foul on the Heat. Now they put it up there. But Johnson has become the vocal leader of this team. You see the last 3 months, he's been playing on 2 bad ankles. He's also had a sprained thumb. He's had a wrist injury. But the ankles are really giving him problems. But he's become the vocal leader, especially now with Patrick Ewing out. As you said, he called that team meeting yesterday in his hotel suite.
But it's kind of like the shackles have come off Larry Johnson and Allen Houston without the presence of Patrick Ewing, where the offense generally went through. Now those two are the focal points.
Morning with a tough shot. Houston the rebound. 1-point Knick lead. A little over 3 minutes remaining in the third. Houston drives hard. Ball knocked out of his hand. Starks right there to pick it up. Hardaway is now on Houston. Hardaway's got good strength. No size there. Stripped and stolen. 3-on-2 the other way. Murdoch underneath draws the foul. Ward not happy with the call, but that's his 4th, and Eric Murdoch will go to the line.
Well, not a good choice by Allen Houston, and this happened to him quite a bit in game 1. Trying to force the action and just laying the ball out there. Easy pickings for Tim Hardaway. What Allen Houston should be trying to do right now with Keith Askins on him is try to just isolate him. Askins foul prone, already has some foul problems, and Houston, if he puts his head down, drives to the basket, he will get the benefit of the doubt against Keith Askins, an over-aggressive defender.
Houston had Hardaway on him, felt he could take advantage as Childs comes in for Ward. So many times you see those little guys when you try and post them up, they take offense. And Hardaway does a good job. I remember Muggsy Bogues. He's one of your better post defenders. Everyone loved to post him up, but he was good down low. Hardaway, the same thing. He's got a lot of strength.
You see the philosophy of the Knicks against Houston when he is in those isolation situations. Make him drive to the middle. He shoots a high percentage when he gets the shot off, but that's where all the defensive help is.
Starks, who had the big first half, 3 for 3 from downtown, trying to help out Larry Johnson. Childs flips it up with the left hand. Oakley's tip won't go. Gets it again. Blocked from behind. Morning his 4th rejection.
Charles Oakley just doing terrific work on the glass, but unable to finish because of his inability to get up strong to the hoop.
Tied at 67 with 2:13 remaining in the third. Game 2, best of 5. Murdoch. Houston on the rebound. Stark splits the defenders and draws the foul. Heat over the limit, so Starks will go to the free throw line. 2 fouls now on Tim Hardaway. Starks 11 points, 4 of 6 from the field. Want to remind you tonight on NBC from Hallmark Entertainment, a motion picture event. Merlin, Sam Neill, Isabella Rossellini, Miranda Richardson, Martin Short, and Helena Bonham Carter star in the world premiere of Merlin tonight on NBC. Free throw shooting as Cummings comes back in. And in this series, it's important with the physical nature of it. The Knicks now at 76%. Johnson will sit down. The Heat at 78%. So both teams shooting pretty well from the line. Starks had the good game one as well. Had a strong outing. Scoring 14 points. (69-67). Starks with 13. Knicks with a 2-point advantage. Under 2 minutes remaining in the third.
Breakdown offensive execution for the Heat, looking to try and get Tim Hardaway coming off some baseline screens.
Starks just missed getting a hand on it. Hardaway cannot find the range. Oakley the rebound. Hardaway now 3 of 14 from the field. Childs from 2. Both teams have cooled off a little bit after the strong start here in the third. Askins of 3. Childs on the weak side.
Both teams coming undone, just taking rushed jumpers. Here's another one.
Starks hits another 3. 4 for 4 from downtown. And the Knicks lead by 5.
It's a jump shot parade. It really helps when they go in.
Largest lead of the game for the Knicks. And Cummings with a foul. Mourning with a quick first step. And for the Knicks, not over the limit, just their 14th foul with 51.7 remaining in the third. Mashburn will now return for Miami. And Alonzo Mourning will quickly take off the mask and go to the bench. Superb game for Alonzo Mourning. 25 points, 9 boards, 4 block shots. Murdoch the drive, draws the foul again. And that's the move that hurt the Knicks in game one, taking it to the basket.
Eric Murdoch has always been an effective pick-and-roll player, especially back in his days with the Milwaukee Bucks. Had 3 solid years there, averaging about 15 a game. And he was just a wizard on pick-and-roll situations and able to hit that little runner in the lane, that little in-between shot.
Coming up next on NBC, game 2 of our triple header. Damon Stoudemire and the Trailblazers against Shaquille O'Neal and the Lakers. Lakers leading that series 1-0. Then Keith Van Horn and the Nets against Michael Jordan and the Bulls. Blazers and Lakers next, followed by the Nets and Bulls. NBA playoff triple header continues here on NBC.
Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant having to come up with some heroics coming down the stretch in game 1 against Portland.
Murdoch hits the pair. Murdoch 3 points. Remember, 9 of his 16 points in game 1 came in the 4th quarter. All his numbers from the free throw line here today. Askins now back on Houston. Oakley falls back. Charles Oakley cannot find the range. Oakley just 2 of 11 from the field. About a half-second differential between the shot and game clock, so Miami will hold it for the last one here in the third. Chance of let's go Heat.
Often Tim Hardaway will look for the three-pointer in this situation if he can get the defender back on his heels.
Hardaway 1 on the shot clock, will not get it off in time. A 24-second violation. So there's still time left on the clock. They'll put 0.6 of a second. That's just enough time to catch it, just a desperation heave. Oakley looking. Childs won't even attempt it, and that will end the third quarter. 3 quarters complete in game 2 from Miami. Larry Johnson now with 18 points. Alonzo Mourning really turned it around from game 1. He's got 25. 3 quarters complete at Miami Arena. The Knicks leading the Heat 72-69. We'll return after these messages and a word from your local station, the NBA on NBC. Fourth quarter set to begin in game 2 from Miami. The Heat came out, led by 10 in the first, went up by as many as 14 in the second. It was all tied at halftime. In the third, Knicks briefly took their largest lead, a 5-point advantage. As we head into the final quarter, a 3-point Knicks lead is Alonzo Mourning. Just a brilliant performance this afternoon.
Big difference in the game so far. Miami just 5 for 16 on three-pointers, have missed their last 7. In game 1, you remember, Mike, 11 for 26.
Mashburn. Starks the rebound. Starks, Childs, Houston, Cummings, and Oakley out there to start the fourth for the Knicks. You see the leading scorers, Houston and Johnson, getting it done. Houston, tough shot, draws some contact. Cummings on the offensive rebound. He's got 8 boards.
Good idea by the Knicks, however, to isolate Askins, try to do it in the post position.
Murdoch, Hardaway, Askins, Mashburn, and Mourning out there. Starks a 3. Won't go. That's his first missed 3. He hit his initial 4. As the Knicks hold on to their 3-point lead. Mashburn wanting to take Oakley off the dribble. Mashburn the drive. Won't go. The follow right there. Jamal Mashburn, who missed 31 games with a broken right thumb, struggled shooting, as Matt alluded to earlier, in game 1. That's his first field goal in game 2.
Pat Riley, I think, was hoping for a lot more from Mashburn.
Mourning just got his hand enough to tip it away from Cummings. Mashburn kicks it out.
With Mashburn, you get a lot of versatility, not only his offensive talents, which have not shown up since he's come back from the injury, but he's a good ball handler, keeps the ball moving, and can make the scoring pass.
Oakley knocked it out of bounds. Still Heat ball, 8 on the shot clock. Rashawn Leonard will come back in, and Hardaway's going to get a breather. He's played 36 minutes already. Shot clock down to 6. Mashburn against Johnson. Johnson keeps him in front and takes it away. And then Mashburn fouls him to prevent the fast break the other way. Second foul on Mashburn. And the first team foul against the Heat here in the fourth.
The rust is just dripping all over Jamal Mashburn. Before his thumb injury, probably playing the best basketball of his professional life. Not so much as far as high scoring is concerned, but in all phases of the game. Pat Riley right now is thinking about, where am I going to get some scoring? He's got Hardaway resting on the bench. Probably the best place to go, inside to the big fella, Alonzo Mourning.
Of course, Rashawn Leonard's had a big game, foul away from the ball. Mashburn trying to defend Larry Johnson in low post. They call this one on Leonard, however. And that's 4 on Leonard. 25 points for Rashawn Leonard. They go right back to Johnson. Johnson single coverage. Spins. And gets the roll. No double team coming at him that time.
Well, the Knicks have been diligent about trying to get that matchup and go inside to Larry Johnson against Mashburn, who they feel has no chance of guarding Larry Johnson.
Mourning in the high post. Cummings, who supplied some good play off the bench. Mourning turns and shoots in and out. That one halfway down. And Johnson an outlet. And Louis Grillo waving somebody. Starks, something's wrong with Starks as he's going to the bench. Louis Grillo stopping play. Starks going over to speak with trainer Mike Saunders. It appears he's got a bloody nose.
Yeah, right away, Louis Grillo's spotting that. Trainer Mike Saunders will try to get the bleeding stop. No timeout. So Jeff Van Gundy has to quickly get a substitution there. Looks like it'll be Chris Mills.
So Mills will come in. Starks will have the bloody nose attended to.
Substitution for infectious control for the Knicks.
Nearly 2.5 gone by here in the fourth. Knicks leading the Heat by 3, along with Matt Gukas and Paul Sunderland. Mike Breen on hand, Miami Arena. Game 3 of this series will be Tuesday night in New York. And of course, the game 4, if necessary, Thursday in New York. Houston coming off the screen. Askins on him again. Houston makes his move. Chris Childs knocks the shot down. A two-pointer for Childs. His second field goal. Knicks lead by 5.
And that's exactly what the Knicks want from Allen Houston. Isolate him to try to look at Keith Askins, see if he can't get by or score. If not, make the scoring pass, which he did to Chris Childs.
Big shot from P.J. Brown. Left open, nails the jumper. P.J. Brown, his second field goal. A 3-point Knick lead, just over 3 minutes gone by in the fourth. Again, they're looking for Houston in the isolation. You mentioned Houston's passing perhaps is important. Makes the drive. And Allen Houston looked like he stepped on the side on the baseline. Timeout. Just over 8.5 remaining in the fourth. Knicks and Heat in a good battle.
Now John Starks having a solid offensive game with 16 points on the bench right now, getting some attention to his bloody nose as he just cuts through the lane, moving without the ball. And as Terry Cummings and Alonzo Mourning are sumo wrestling, the inadvertent but very hard elbow right to the chops and the nose area of John Starks.
See Starks and his importance for the Knicks, but he remains on the bench. 3-point Knick lead, still plenty of time. Just under 8.5 remaining in the fourth. Marley back in now for Miami. Mourning underneath. And before the shot, foul on Cummings. Basket will not count. First team foul against the Knicks and 3 on Cummings. Of course, 3-point shooting, all Miami in game 1. Knicks have rebounded nicely in that department in game 2. Not only shooting theirs, but defending the 3 better.
And the big difference is they've kept this man, Tim Hardaway, very quiet, staying home on him, not leaving him to go double team people. It's a big factor.
Hardaway just 3 of 14 from the field. Mourning, though, has picked up the offensive slack, battling against Cummings. Shot clock down to 5. Murdoch, the runner. Cummings, the rebound.
Now these were the
taken away.
Steal.
Hardaway for 3. And a foul called on Childs. It'll be a 3-shot foul. Childs 4th. And Tim Hardaway will go to the line for 3. Huge steal from Eric Murdoch.
Well, we're talking about how quiet Tim Hardaway has been with the 3. Mainly because he has not been left alone. But that was after the steal by Murdoch. Tough to readjust defensively, but just a very poor foul on the part of Chris Childs, who was saying where. He's claiming he did not hit him on the wrist or the arm, but you could see the left arm going through on the follow-through, catching Hardaway after the shot, kind of pulling his shirt loose from the back.
Yeah, clearly the foul there. Childs has said after game 1, all he did was complain all night as Hardaway misses the first 2. Hardaway's shooting problems continuing, this time with the free throw line. And Hardaway 1 of 3 to cut the Knick lead to 2. Murdoch is on Childs. Marley remains on Houston. Houston shooting over Marley. Tough shot from Allen Houston. And the Knicks back up by 4. Houston now with 22.
Marley's philosophy is to get up into the face, into the chest of Allen Houston, make him put it on the floor, and Allen is improved in that area dramatically over the last couple of years.
Some hard screens being set out there. The physical play certainly picked up in the last couple of minutes. Ball nearly deflected. Shot clock down to 5. Marley, tough 3-pointer with a hand in his face, and it's the side of the backboard. 3-on-1 break the other way. Houston, the runner, inside. Allen Houston gives the Knicks their largest lead of the game. And Pat Riley wants timeout. 24 points for Allen Houston. And the Knicks lead it by 6. Just over 7 minutes remaining. Fourth quarter in Miami. Knicks looking to even up the series.
On game 1, Dan Marley deservedly getting a lot of credit for making this man, Allen Houston, work very hard and shoot 5 for 18. But Houston helps out here by going out on a 45-degree angle, making it easier to cover. Here in game 2, gets Marley to go top side, flattens out to the baseline, gets a better look. Forced to put the ball on the floor by Marley, able to pull up and hit the jumper, and Pat Riley has made the decision. Dan Marley right now cannot get it done at the defensive end or the offensive end. And Riley said yesterday he hates it when somebody said, well, they stopped a good offensive player. Offensive players, the good ones, they always come back.
And Houston has today. Marley re-injured his hernia, his groin area early. We were told that he wasn't going to return at all. Made a go of it, but obviously not 100%, and Leonard throws it away.
And Riley's choice come back with Askins, who has not done a particularly good job on Houston because he has fouled him, and Askins doesn't give him anything at the offensive end.
A 6-point Nyk lead, just over 6.5 remaining in the fourth. Nyk's on a mini run right now. John Starks, a big spark off the bench. The entire bench has played well. Starks for 3. Rebound falls to the floor, and Askins picking it up. Several players mistiming the jumps. They lob down low. Houston with the steal. Ahead to Starks. Starks underneath, and a foul. John Starks able to knock it in. As Keith Askins has word after Starks puts it in, but a chance for a 3-point play. Now the Knicks now up by 8. 4 fouls on Askins. Starks now with 18.
Well, Keith Askins trying to commit the hard foul here to try and take away the layup and make Starks go to line for 2. And then John Starks almost overreacting there as hands were on one another. That's how a lot of these little flashpoints start after the play, whether it's words or the extra elbow, the extra shove.
Largest lead of the game for the Knicks. An 11-3 run gives them a 9-point advantage. Approaching midway through the fourth. Leonard's been quiet after the great first half. Mourning double team. Shot clock down to 6. Alonzo Mourning gets the roll. What an afternoon for Alonzo Mourning, now with 27.
Just overpowering Terry Cummings inside. Even though Tim Hardaway has had a very quiet afternoon, you expect him to try to take over this game very shortly.
Houston, that's a 2. Won't go. Mourning his 11th rebound, and Starks call for the foul as he tried to tip it out of his hands. That's his 2nd foul, and the Knicks' 3rd team foul. Jeff Van Gundy calls his Knicks in this series an underdog with a chance. And they've certainly given themselves a chance to win on the road here today. But so much time remaining, especially with number 10 on the floor. Houston now switches off. P.J. Brown left open, and he's fouled. Cummings had no recourse, but the Wacom and P.J. Brown will go to the line for 2. 4 fouls on Terry Cummings.
Tim Hardaway very passive right now, getting the switch that they expect on the little guard pick and roll situation. Had Allen Houston to work on defensively, but staying with the play, trying to get it to the other side of the floor for Bashawn Leonard.
Brown hits the first. Of course, Brown, such a focal point of last year's Eastern Conference semifinals when he flipped Charlie Ward and the brawl ensued. The suspensions followed. And the Knicks eventually losing that series. Brown 1 of 2. Johnson the rebound. A 6-point Knick lead. A little over 5 minutes remaining. Allen Houston has turned his game around here in game 2. Shot clock down to 7. Johnson against Mourning. It's down to 2. Johnson the runner across the lane. Gets the roll. Tough shot from Larry Johnson, who now has 22 in the lead, back to 8.
Well, Alonzo Mourning struggles moving his feet against a smaller, even a little bit quicker Larry Johnson, but tough shot by Larry Johnson coming back across his body.
The Knick coaching staff urging the defenders to get up on Hardaway. Hardaway, beautiful shot. And it's 85-79.
Well, there's that desired switch for Hardaway to get him in a one-on-one situation against Allen Houston, who has no chance of keeping Hardaway from getting into the lane unless he backs way off and dares him to take the 3.
2 of the best defensive teams in the NBA in a battle. Houston kicks it out for Johnson. Shot clock down to 6. Johnson has Hardaway on him, hesitates, and won't go. Cummings the offensive rebound. The Knicks will get a new 24. Terry Cummings, huge spark off the bench. He's got 10 boards. 4 minutes remaining. Starks on the pull-up. John Starks nails the jumper. 21 for Starks. Knicks by 8. His longtime teammate Patrick Ewing applauding Starks, who has turned it around here in this playoff series. Jeff Van Gundy always says when Starks plays well, we're difficult to beat.
There's that tough shot by Larry Johnson against the outstretched arm of Alonzo Mourning. Somehow or other, the smaller Larry Johnson has been finding ways to get shots up. And John Starks coming off that baseline screen, able to elude the defender, and he is feeling it, talking to the crowd, letting them know John Starks back.
Just under 4 minutes remaining, fourth quarter from Miami Arena. Knicks trying to even up this best-of-5 opening round series. They lead by 8, 87-79. Hello again, everyone. Along with Matt Gukas, Mike Breen on hand. When this series began, everyone so anticipated. What a great first-round matchup. A disappointing Game 1, the way the Heat dominated in terms of those who wanted a competitive series. They've got one here in Game 2.
Big reason for the success of Miami in Game 1. Dan Marley's gutty performance, the unexpected lift from Eric Murdoch. And now the Knicks coming back in Game 2 with Allen Houston, Larry Johnson, and John Starks coming up big so far.
Of course, everyone disappointed for the competitive except Miami Heat fans who love Game 1. The Heat so impressive in that first game as Mourning falls short. Terry Cummings has been a big factor for the Knicks here in Game 2. Solid defense that time on Mourning. Houston isolated with Askins. Childs makes his move. Terry Cummings wide open. Cummings misfires. P.J. Brown the rebound. Still over 3 minutes remaining. Knicks leading by 8. Hardaway just 4 of 15 from the field. Stripped with the ball knocked out of bounds. Still Heat ball.
Now Terry Cummings continues to struggle offensively, but no problem on the boards and battling the bigger, stronger Alonzo Mourning. Pressuring into a missed shot, and yet another defensive rebound for
Michael Jordan, ready to go up 2-0 against New Jersey. Although the Nets can be a dangerous team.
What a performance by Jason Williams coming back from his thumb injury with 21 rebounds. Only 8 rebounds for Dennis Rodman. You look for some kind of a turnaround, at least on the part of Dennis Rodman today.
And a foul, a 2-shot foul is going to be called on Terry Cummings, denying Alonzo Mourning. The dead ball foul as ball was not inbounded. And Mourning will shoot the 2 as Cummings now has 5 personals.
And Terry Cummings continues to jaw at the officials. Where the Knicks, many times throughout the year, Mike, as you know, hurt themselves coming down the stretch in fourth quarter with losing their composure, with referees, with non-calls, and just not able to finish the game. Jeff Gundy has said many times, our team is offensively challenged. We know we're a good defensive team. We know we're a good rebounding team. We have to find ways to score in fourth quarters to finish off victories.
They had a T-shirt made when the team went down to Charleston, South Carolina to get ready for the playoff series. And the only words on the T-shirt was finish. That was it. 1 of 2 from Mourning. The Knicks lead is 7. A little over 2.5 remaining. Johnson gets it, falls back. Larry Johnson off the mark, Mourning the rebound. His 12th of the game. Crowd trying to get the Heat back into it. Mourning deep in the post, gets it, and lays it in. Cummings with the 5 fouls, could not commit. He did not want to foul out, and the Knicks will now call timeout. .30 points for Alonzo Mourning. Heat not done yet. 87-82. Knicks by 5.
Big play for Alonzo Mourning in this game. High pick and roll, and he rolls right down the middle of the lane. The help comes off P.J. Brown, which makes him the outlet receiver, and then the dump in to Alonzo Mourning, and he just manhandles Cummings inside.
Mourning, 30 points, 12 rebounds, 4 block shots. Still plenty of time remaining. 2:20 left. Knicks lead is 5. They led by as many as 9 earlier in the period. Houston makes his move on Askins. Gets by him. Allen Houston high off the glass. Cummings mistimed his jump. And a loose ball foul call against the Heat. So Only the 14th foul. Knicks will inbound. B.J. Brown, his second.
That's been a big play for the Knicks all afternoon with Allen Houston facing up on Keith Askins, who has to be very careful with his fouls. Officials keep a close eye on him, and that penetration enabled the Knicks to just get another crack at it.
Starks. We're under 2 minutes left. Knicks lead by 5. Houston, there's the double team. Childs, a three-pointer. It's good. Chris Childs from downtown. And the Knicks go up by 8 with 1:52 remaining. Huge shot from Childs, who has 7 points in the game. Heat will call timeout. A wide open three. Knicks have turned it around from downtown. That's their 7th three-pointer of the afternoon.
Allen Houston forced to put it on the floor, almost stripped by Vashawn Leonard, able to hold on tight, and Chris Childs hitting a huge three-pointer to give the Knicks the 8-point lead. And New York wanted to be more physical coming into this game, but I don't think Jeff Van Gundy had this in mind as John Starks with the hard bear hug on Chris Childs, who is in all kinds of pain.
Childs injured his ribs in the first half, and obviously Starks aggravating that injury there. Tim Hardaway has only attempted 1 shot here in the 4th quarter. Leonard gets open, won't go. Askins quickly back. Leonard will try it again. Rebound Cummings. Terry Cummings, his 13th rebound of the game.
And if something dramatic doesn't happen in the last 90 seconds, Mike, I think Tim Hardaway is going to have a lot of questions to answer as to why he has been so quiet throughout the whole game, but in particular in what he calls winning time, he's been silent.
Childs, the feed to Cummings. Cummings fouled. Shot will go and one. And the Knicks go up by 10, their largest lead of the game with 1:15 remaining. And the fans here at Miami Arena now start heading for the exits.
Are the Knicks brimming with confidence right now? After such a disappointing performance in Game 1, they have hurt the Heat with their penetration, opening a number of open shots. And Terry Cummings, who did not play at all in Game 1, coming through in a big way with his rebounding and at times strong defense on Alonzo Mourning, despite Zoe coming away with 30.
Hardaway just 4 of 15 from the field as he gets the foul on Starks. Knicks over the limit, so Hardaway will shoot free throws. That's the last thing Jeff Van Gundy wants right now, is to have the Heat score with the clock stopped. But smart move from Hardaway. But only 1 shot attempt, you know he's going to say something to his teammates. He has been such a clutch performer. He has become, Matt, one of the more clutch players in the league. Heroics in the postseason for the Heat, certainly during the regular season.
You can never forget his Game 7 last year against the New York Knicks with 38 points, 18 of them in the 3rd quarter.
Knocks down both. The lead is 8, approaching 1 minute remaining. Knicks able to beat the press. Knicks showing poise here in the 4th quarter. Mourning reaching in, trying to get it away from Johnson. Shot clock at 8. Johnson drives underneath. Runner won't go. Mourning lost it. Fight. Cummings comes away with it. 37-year-old Terry Cummings with a marvelous performance this afternoon, and Leonard will foul Starks with 40.9 seconds remaining, and the Knicks an 8-point lead.
Well, Pat Riley knew that his team was going to be in for a battle today. He knew that Jeff Van Gundy would have this team coming out with a much different attitude. I think he also knew in the back of his mind he would not get the same game from Dan Marley or Eric Murdoch. And I think he was hoping for some kind of game out of Tim Hardaway and didn't get it. But Pat Riley has a lot of respect for the defensive ability of this New York team, and he knows he's in for a battle royal in Madison Square Garden on Tuesday night. And there, the Knicks' biggest cheerleader, Patrick Ewing.
See Marley, who gave it a go, but his hernia really hurting him. Unable to play defense the way he did on Friday night. As for Starks, so often as Starks go, the Knicks have gone. He's got 23 points as the Knicks lead by 10, approaching a half-minute remaining. Leonard for 3. Starks the rebound, and a foul on Brown. Leonard had 21 points in the first half, just 4 after intermission. Certainly a lot of the credit has to go to the Knicks defense. as the Heat shooting under 40% for the game. And Patrick Ewing hoping the Knicks can continue their playoff run. He wants to play this year. Certainly the longer the Knicks advance, the better chance he has.
They try to figure this game out, Mike. Alonzo Mourning only playing 22 minutes in game one, yet his team able to find a way to at times dominate New York. Tonight Alonzo stays, or I should say this afternoon, Alonzo stays out of foul trouble, scores big, has 13 rebounds, a few blocks, has a big game, and yet his team is being handled.
The Knicks enjoying the road success. They have not had it down here at Miami Arena. And as we said earlier, Knicks were not a good road team during the regular season. Just 15 and 26 on the road as Starks capping off a brilliant performance. The largest lead for the Knicks in the final half minute. Murdoch way off the mark. Ball tipped back out. Murdoch will drive again. Eric Murdoch able to get the roll. But it's a 10-point Knick lead with 15.2 remaining, and the Knicks will even this series at 1 game apiece. Childs is going to hold it to finish this one up. A huge comeback victory for the Knicks after the disappointing loss in game 1. And this best-of-5 series is officially tied at 1. Knicks had dropped 6 straight here at Miami Arena and had some demons they wanted to exercise, and at least temporarily they did this afternoon.
Well, we talked about in the beginning of the game, Mike, about whether or not Allen Houston would bounce back from a subpar game. He did more than that. John Starks, who had a good